Really? You want me to do this, Basti? Oh my god. I was told to say this at the beginning of my next video. Alright. Hold on. Here we go. What's poppin', dudes and dudettes? This video is going to bust your GBs. Welcome to my TFT patch 10.9 patch note rundown. Welcome back from future Chrono players. This week is patch 10.9. That means new galaxies, trait and champion adjustments, item system changes, and last but not least, new Odyssey themed arenas. In champion balance, we're making a 3-star, tier 1 champions a little easier to get, and a little bit more worth the chase. We're hoping this will open up even more interesting team options. We're also lowering the power of large vertical traits and buffing some of the smaller supplemental traits again with the goal of opening up more interesting build paths. Perhaps the most interesting change is the reimagining of Chrono. The trait will now always give 15% bonus attack speed every few seconds, with the first tick coming at the start of combat. Is what? Sure, I understand that, but sure. Now adding more Chrono champions will increase how often your champions get bonus attack speed rather than how much. I kind of like that. I think that's interesting. All right, let's get to it. Highlights. So overall is you're not gonna learn anything from this, honestly, because it literally says they buffed, nerfed, adjusted, reworked, and every single trait in the game. So I saw this picture like on on Twitter, and I was just like, I'm not even gonna bother. And so we're gonna keep going down. I will talk about the meta a little bit before we get to continue from this point. I think right now, it feels very like you're forced to play the top tier meta comps too much. I feel like there's a little bit lack of variety, even though you'll have players who are able to high roll stuff like, I guess, Jinx 3 and Blaster Brawlers, or Relay 3 and Cyber. Generally speaking, it feels like Xerath is like kind of crowding out a lot of the really powerful in-game units and makes 6 Darkstar like pretty much sustainable by itself. On top of that, I feel like Mech is still too strong, and those two comps are like kind of taking over. Unrelated to the person I just looked at the law chest at, of course. Aside from that, I think one of the biggest things they pointed out is this. In set 2, they did a really good job at being able to force you to change up your build path a lot, assuming you got certain like small synergies, like 2 synergies, like 2 Vanguard, 2 Infiltrator, stuff like that. Currently, when we're looking at like 2 set synergies, there's really not much that you want to splash for that's not like Celestial or Mystic. You look at Infiltrator, and Infiltrator isn't even it's not even a fucking synergy until 4. Because you just lose the attack speed. And the same thing is true for stuff like I mean, Blaster's okay to splash 2-4, but there was something else that I feel like wasn't really worth it. Like, it was never really worth it, in my opinion, to splash like either 2 Sork or even like 3 Blade, 3 Cyber. It just felt like relatively pretty weak. And it feels like that, going into the game, you're gonna be playing some 6 synergy version of some comp, and every unit in the comp. I feel like set 2 did a really good job, even though it was kind of not a super fun set to play, of you being forced to have to switch your comp a lot and adjust based on your rolls. I feel like right now it's like you brute force the same comp over and over again. Like, every unit's gonna go in the comp, and your early to mid game is the only time you readjust your board a lot. I feel like they want to try to make it so you readjust your board in mid-late game as well, and I think that's a really good thing for them to aspire to do. I just saw this Thresh. This is kind of interesting. Okay, so there's a new Odyssey Jinx arena. Okay, there's a new Odyssey Yasuo arena. I actually kind of think it's cool that they have hangers. Okay, the Odyssey Malphite arena. Okay, systems. Okay, what are they gonna do? So you higher chance of getting 1 star at level 3. Higher percent chance of getting 3 costs at level 4. So you pre-level, you'll have the chance of hitting the outside Jace, or Vi or something. Okay, and then you lose your chance of getting 1 cost by 10%. At level 5, you decrease the amount of chance you get it. Okay, I read this wrong. And you decrease the amount of chance you get 2 costs. So what did they end up changing? What was the big difference? At level 5, you have 5% chance of rolling for more 1 costs. So it makes, I guess, back in set 2 and 1, you can hyper roll quite a bit. So you can 3-star 1 cost units quite easily. But I feel like right now that's not the case because they changed it to where like you don't get as many tier 1 units, but now they changed a little bit of it back at level 4 and 5. So if there was a comp you wanted to kind of hyper roll, maybe hyper roll it's definitely better. I don't know if it'll come back because hyper roll pretty much died with this set, where you stay at level 4 and at like 8 of 10 XP and roll down all your gold for 3-star 1 cost units. This will be something interesting to try out. Next one is they increased 1 cost at all levels. Wow. And they decreased 3s here and here. Huh. I guess one of the things that's nice is that you have a higher chance of getting 1 cost units when you're going up. So a lot of times when you're playing, like, let's say 6 Rebels, you're playing 6 Darkstar, getting the Ziggs Jarvan is kind of difficult when you're going up. That's the one small thing, but it makes it harder to 3-star a lot of units for sure. Item and drop changes. Players can no longer sell units if doing so would cause an item to be deleted. Thanks, Mort. I lost a fucking Xerath and glove the other day because I had a max bench and I killed my units and I went 8th that game. Players can no longer open loot orbs if their item bench is full. Cool. Players now all drop at least 1 small orb in the first 3 PvE rounds. Okay, these are all great things so you don't destroy your items. This seems, I'm not sure the impact of this. It seems fine. New Galaxy's treasure trove. Every minion monster in the game drops a loot orb. Okay. All tier 1, 2, 3 in champions on the carousel have 2 stars. Okay. This one I heard is sick. More promise that this one is sick. So usually when you're playing the game, you only have enough items to fully stack, which is 3 completed items on 2 units. Usually any comp you play, it's you full stack 1 carry and you half stack or you have utility items kind of around your comp, or you full stack 2 carries. That's how pretty much most comps play out right now. Maybe Darkstars does like 2-2-2 on 3 different carries. And might be the one exception, but a lot of times it's just you go very tall on 1 unit or very tall on 2 units, and that's it. With Treasure Trove giving you more items, like we're probably talking like a lot more items, so I'm going to be honest. You're probably going to be able to stack 3 units a game, so maybe 2 carries and 1 defensive unit, or maybe even 3 carries. This definitely changes the game a lot, because rather than looking for specific items, you're going to get so many fucking items in this one. This is probably the one that's going to be the most different from what we're playing on live. On this one, all tier 1, 2, 3 champions on carousel are 2 stars. This is going to reward lost streaking a lot early, right? To get that 3 cost 2 star on first 2-4 carousel. I'm going to open for this. I want to try at the very least to see how it is, but it makes late game carousels have more decision making, because getting a 2-star 2 or 3 cost unit might actually be worth it for you if the item is like a little bit average or above average, right? Oh, the first 2-4 is only 2? Oh, okay, my bad. The next one after. Galaxy odds, treasure trove is 12% of games, 12%, 7.5, 7.5, 7.5, 10% normal. So of all these galaxies, I love Trade Sector the most. I think it's the most interesting. You replace your board a lot and you get a lot of cool, fun things with this one. It allows you to constantly hit all the units you want, and maybe even more so than that. So this is the most fun for me. After that, I dislike Super Dense. If this gets deleted, I wouldn't care. And then Lilac Nebula after that, I'm not a huge fan of, but I'll play it. And everything else is I'm like kind of whatever about. The Nico first, whatever about. The only thing I'm really excited for, honestly, is Trade Sector, and Medium Legends some of the times creates really interesting games. So I'm hoping that one of these two, these new galaxies end up being similar levels of enjoyment for me as Trade Sector is, because I feel like it opens up the most, I guess, unique kinds of games, and the most fun for me. Anyways, we've lowered the amount of normal games to 35%, so you'll almost always be playing on the galaxy. Traits. We're lowering the power of large vertical traits and buffing some of the smaller supplemental traits to open up more interesting build paths. I like this. I think it's really good. Good idea. It's what Set 2 did really well. So Blade Master ended up nerfing the 4, or the 6, sorry, buffing the 9, okay. Blaster Brawler nerfing the 5, the 4, buffing or keeping the 2 the same. So the 3 is the same here, the 2 is the same here. Brawler buff is kind of irrelevant. They lowered the 4. God, I'm looking for a buff that's actually gonna matter. Dark Star ended up being weaker. Okay, this is gonna matter for 6. This is probably the most important thing and something I complained about at the very beginning of the patch notes. Infiltrator is now refreshing on takedowns and all levels, allows you to splash 2 Infiltrator, and you feel a lot better about it. Or else Infiltrator attack speed only lasts, I think, the first 5 seconds of the fight. So being able to splash 2 Infiltrators is going to feel a lot fucking better. A lot better. So the first thing I think of when I think about this kind of stuff is like, let's say you go Mech Mage, which is not super popular, and then you're able to add a 2 Infiltrator onto your Mech Mage. A good example is you go Mech Mage, you reroll at 6, and then you get Kaisa 3, and you're able to get 2 Infiltrator on your Mech and 2 Infiltrator on your Kaisa. That can kind of consistently go throughout the fight rather than be very front-loaded. So that's interesting. Like, for sure, I'm happy about this especially. Protector shield goes up, down, down. Okay, maybe 2's Protector might be splashed more. Rebels, I don't really care. Sork, I don't really care. Star Guardians, whatever. This is the other important one. Holy shit. Vanguard bonus armor got increased by double plus 5. So splashing 2 Vanguard is worth quite a bit, actually. Huge buff for early game, like enormous buff. So it makes a lot of times people will try to carry with like Giant Slayer, Zaya, or some shit like that. But early game, and if you have like if you have just 2 Vanguards at the very beginning, let's say you get Poppy Leona, like I'll be holding a lot more Poppies and Leonas on right now because the 2 Vanguard bonus seems like it's incredibly powerful. Mordekaiser as well wasn't super good early unless you could 2-star it. Now I think has a lot of value. Starship goes from 20 mana to 40 mana per second. This looks like it's an enormous buff, and it is, but they doubled his max mana so that you couldn't abuse it with Seraphs. So overall, it's like a buff or like a change to where like you just couldn't exploit the Starship with Seraphs. It's not in the patch notes, but I was told about this earlier from more. So this looks OP, but it's not OP. Oh, they didn't double? Or is it a straight buff? Oh, it went from 80 to 120. So it's a straight buff. Because without mana items. So the unit is 80 to 120 is 50%. 50% more max mana, but 100% more mana regen. So Soul is just better, like straight up. He might be more playable just in general. I don't know if he'll be as unstoppable as before, but it's definitely going to be interesting. Okay. Valkyrie threshold is now 40% or below. So it's more of like an execute. I don't necessarily know if they needed to do this, but okay. Blade Master increases the speed of bonus attacks. I want to know if this can break attack speed limits of stuff like Jhin. Would be kind of interesting to be able to do that, but I think that's nice. You know, makes Blade a little bit better. I think Blade's kind of weak right now. Chrono, they changed it to 15% every 8 for 2 seconds, which I think is really good because having a tick start at the very beginning of the round matters a lot. It makes even 2 Chrono really valuable because 2 Chrono means immediately at the very start of the fight, 15% more attack speed for every unit on your board. I like this Chrono change a lot. Like just, it's a really, really nice, elegant change. And they did a good job for sure. Mech Pilot mana gain granted to pilots on death goes from 25 to 0. Okay. Mech Pilot base health goes down 300 and the shared health goes down by 5%. Pretty large, enormous Mech Pilot nerfs, honestly. Especially like just everything across the board. You're losing a lot. Like a lot of health, and this is really important because when Mech Pilots used to die, you're almost guaranteed the Fizz ulti. Even if it's a 2-star Fizz, you're guaranteed like the Rumble ulti comes out immediately as well. So it's really obnoxious, but this is a pretty big Mech slam here. To be honest, Mech might still be good, but like this is a big nerf for sure. Riposte goes from 1.5 to 3. 3-star Fiora is going to be really good with double. I'm surprised. Wow. Okay. It's double the stun. Fiora, I think, is kind of a sleeper unit. She's really good. Even at 6 cyber, you put her in front of the melee carry and she's able to disrupt them quite a bit. Graves' smoke screen duration goes down to 3, 4, and 5. I actually really like this. I think Graves is an ultra powerful unit early, and I think nerfing the 1-star version actually makes it so it's not. He shouldn't have the same power at all times. I think Graves is really, really powerful. Taste for Fear, Kha'Zix got buffed early. Cool. This is one of the worst 1-cost units in the game. I'm all for buffs. Leona got 3-cost buff. Malphite got 3-cost buff. TF Wild Fate card 3 cost. Okay, none of this matters. Ziggs bomb damage went up a little bit. Oh, to compensate for Seraph's nerf. I think this is good. Ziggs is kind of weak. So they're encouraging more like hyper roll kind of stuff for 3-star 1-cost units. That's very, very interesting. Tier 2 champions Annie health increased. It's good because you're able to offset some of the nerfs of Mech Pilot. I think one of the nice things about Annie is when you're making like 4 strokes initially, having Annie be a competent frontline used to be the meta until she got super hard nerfed. I think if she could be somewhat of a frontline-ish for sword comps, then she'll still have a place. Hopefully some of the buffs will help her do that. Lucian will now target the nearest enemy with his double tap after dashing if his current target is dead. Wow, that's a huge buff. What the fuck? Lucian is just the best unit in the game. I think if you're looking to stack a tier 2 unit right now, you're stacking Lucian, you're stacking Darius. Both of these units are really crazy. I don't know why Lucian gets buffs. This is a huge buff. It used to be, okay, what this means is if a unit dies, as you're casting your ulti, you would just fizz out. You would not use your ulti on Lucian. But now he just targets something else. And the worst thing is, this isn't consistent across different champions. Because there's a couple of champions that also do this where you just lose the ulti. But for some reason, Lucian gets buffed with this. I'm really surprised Darius didn't get nerfed. I think Darius is really overtuned right now. And they gave him a buff. They could just revert the buff that they gave him last patch, and he'd be a lot better. But for some reason, Darius is like fucking crazy at the moment. Yeah. Yeah. I'm surprised. Anyways, Sona Arya only removes stuns, so this removes red buff. Heal amount increased. Okay, I think this is just like a balance thing. Kind of okay. Recon grant interests goes farthest unit within 3 hexes, the farthest unit within attack range plus 1 hex. Oh. Does this mean if you RFC Recon, he always attacks the farthest unit? That's kind of funny, I guess. That's an RFC bug fix. All right. Yasuo last breath targeting goes from highest item unit to farthest unit within attack range plus 2x. This is gonna be weird. I think Yasuo has always been highest item usage, and you used to counter him by doing a bunch of items on your front line. I think getting used to this is gonna be very interesting, very strange. This is like he's had this for multiple sets, so they finally changed his targeting to farthest unit within attacks. Like it's within 2-3 hexes of himself, right? It's really strange. Master Yi goes 12% at all levels. So it's actually a buff to Master Yi 2. And a nerf to Master Yi 3. It's actually probably fine. I don't think there's a big difference. I actually think this makes Master Yi better. Because a lot of times the inconsistent part of playing Yi Yasuo comps was just that you couldn't hit Yi 3 and Yi 2 was really difficult to kind of carry with. So this might help a little bit there. Rumble Flame Spitter damage goes up, probably to compensate alongside Annie for a lot of damage here. I think they're trying to make it so you can put in like a random Rumble for demo spat more, and so they're trying to buff the individual units while nerfing a lot of the mech overall stuff. Jinx rocket damage goes up by a little bit. She's a good carry. I think especially if other stuff gets nerfed, like Blaster Brawlers is always going to be a top 4 comp, I think. Top 4, top 5, top 4, top 5 comp. I think it is right now. I don't think anything that I've read that will change that. Aurelion Soul mana goes from 3080 to 4120. This is just a raw buff to Aurelion Soul. GP mana goes up by 25. This is nice, so you don't have to always GA GP to get his ulti off. And the faster impact upgrade goes from 1 second to 0.3. Okay, faster impact is terrible on GP, but now it might actually be worth buying the 0.3 seconds of the cast means it literally comes down almost instantly. That's great. At least the upgrade's worth it now, you know? That's so much faster. It's actually a faster impact, true. And then Xerath Abyssal Bombardment goes nerfed, and the splash damage is nerfed. This is super overtuned. This literally makes 3 players capable of playing 6 Darkstar a game. So nerfing Xerath should be at the very top of your list. I think, remember that he still stuns people if he kills a unit nearby. So the CC didn't get reduced, but the overall splash damage did here by half, and then the overall base damage did here as well. I think I'm happy for Xerath nerfs. Xerath actually keeps out a lot of comps, in my opinion, because it allows Darkstar to stabilize with like 1-star units pretty much. So I'm really happy to see Xerath nerfs, happy to see some Mech nerfs. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, Mech's probably going to be fine. Like, I would have to see Mech more, but it would not... I think Mech's probably going to be fine. We'll see. I feel like before people thought Mech got gutted and Mech was unplayable, but that was not the case. Mech's still like one of the best comps in the game. And I keep looking at this, I'm like, okay, they lose 300 life. They lose maybe like another 300 from here. So they lose like 600 life total. That's a lot of fucking life they lose. But then you see like 6 Darkstar gets nerfed. Only Blaster Brawler got buffed. And it's by like a really small amount. I think maybe it'll be fine, okay? But I'm just really happy they did the Xerath nerfs, for sure. And, okay, let's keep going. QSS, shield duration decreased by 5 seconds. I think this is good. I think having full CC immunity is kind of strong, and at least reducing it from 15 to 10 makes it so there's more counterplay. 15 is pretty much the whole fight. Star Guy 3 is now bronze trait. Fix a bug where Xerath can continue firing while riding for GA. Yep, I had this bug before. Fix a bug where he can lose his transform state while activating GA. Fix a bug where Xerath gets stuck in island elements. She have stunned. Okay. Equipping items in and out of loadout outskirts will be much faster. Your loadout will no longer get messed up by if you log out of the app. You can now remove a friend from your friends list. Okay. What else? Ari now waits for her first orb to cast and returns to cast another one. I've never had this problem before. Oh, these are mobile cores. Sorry, I don't play on mobile. Isn't this just like a nerf? This is a nerf to raw stacking stuff on her. It seems like really irrelevant, I'm gonna be honest. The second orb didn't do damage. Okay, so it's just the way they phrased it is different than the actual bug. So the actual bug is that the second orb doesn't do damage if you cast it again. And then this one is just that like it'll actually do damage if you have enough mana for it. Cool. That's cool. The number one things to look out for after the whole patch is Xerath got nerfed, so I don't think 6 Darkstar can top 4 if they are on a losing streak at 40 life and get the 4-3 Xerath anymore. Which is good, because I think I've been in that position. It was kind of BS. So that's a good thing. Aurelion Soul got a large amount of power this patch, actually. Surprising. 6 Rebels is already kind of fringe playable. They buff Jinx, they buff Aurelion Soul, they buff Ziggs. So I would say maybe look out at Rebel 2 Blaster potentially making a comeback. I would say Mech got nerfed pretty hard, but it's okay. I like the chrono change. The things you should look out for, the 2 Infiltrator buffs are good, and the 2 Vanguard buffs are huge. Lucian's still your best mid-game carry alongside Darius, so if you're looking for something to get you through the mid-game, those 2 units are going to be it. And potential Hyper Rolling is back. Okay. I was just looking for a Xerath nerf this patch. The rest of the stuff is, I like the idea behind this stuff. I don't know if it's actually going to turn out the way that they expect, so I guess we'll see. I missed no more 4 item starts. Oh. I mean, I should probably say I knew that was coming. I'm very happy for that. Fuck, I kind of... Alright, Basti, you know, I did edit that part in.